Let's go next to our caller. Let's try the 708 area code. Who's calling today from 708? Oh, let's see. 708 was dropped.
Hi,
Let me
David.
drop. Oh, you're on. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, 708.
Hi, I'm Daniel from the Chicagoland area.
Hey, Daniel.
Um, so I've noticed, I'm like a young guy and I'm like very into politics, and I've been following your show and a couple other shows for the past year or so. And I've noticed that like I'm very into policy, but like when I talk to my friends, there's a big gap in being informed, I think, and like also misinformation.
Sure.
And I'm starting to think like that, as much as we try to find solutions and try to convince others of like progressive solutions and things like that, like when I look at, say, a second choice poll, like Biden, like most of Biden's second choice, there's his supporters' second choice is Bernie Sanders, and that like just doesn't make sense to me. Which means that like there must be some, like the large majority of the public is not really informed on a lot of these issues. And I was just
Absolutely. I
wondering,
mean,
like,
listen,
do you
my
find that?
interpretation of that would be that this is heavily driven that reality that for Biden supporters, their number one alternative is Bernie is basically a popularity and name recognition thing combined with personality. It's like Biden's really well known. He was the former vice president. Lots of people who liked the Obama administration, or at least liked it in relation to the Trump administration, maybe leaning towards Biden early as a result of that. Beyond that, Bernie is sort of like the most well-known, and he has high favorability of the other candidates. Elizabeth Warren is also relatively well-known. So it makes perfect sense. And you're completely right. How could somebody who is supporting Biden on policy say my next choice is Bernie? But I think that when you understand how politics works in the United States, it actually does make sense.
Do you think that like there is a chance to kind of? I know this is largely what like a lot of the progressive movement is about doing politics based on policy, and
Yeah.
not necessarily name recognition or identity. Um, do you think there's a chance in this election that this can be? I know that's like Bernie's main message. Like you go back to when he was debating Hillary, and he's like, "I don't want to talk about your emails. I want to talk about the policies."
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance in this election that that could actually, that could be the favored way to evaluate the candidates?
Well, listen, Elizabeth Warren has been making gains for about the last 4 months, about a point to a point and a half a month on policy. I mean, her town halls are very policy centric. She's putting out a ton of policy papers on her website, and that has worked in a sort of slow and steady way for her. The problem is that when you look at the first
Hmm.
Democratic debates, the format doesn't allow for deep policy discussion. 10 candidates on a stage, a
Right.
minute to respond, and 30-second rebuttals. That doesn't, policy is impossible there, okay? It's talking points and zingers. When you're running against Trump, who doesn't even understand policy, but is very effective in a sort of influence charisma way to people who are at least somewhat predisposed to like his style. It's also hard to really dig deep on policy because whoever goes up against him, if they try to focus on policy, Trump's not going to have it. He can't debate policy. So I actually don't really see a path
Right.
for policy to ultimately be the focus in this election. Unfortunately, there's going to have to be some other way to defeat Trump.
So you think that like progressives have to play into that? You think like Bernie might have to play into like, he started his campaign with a big speech about like where he came from, like his identity. Do you think he has to favor that more? Maybe like play into like.
Whoever wins the nomination and runs against Trump is going to have to beat Trump at his own game, in the sense that just going up there and doing wonky deep political discussions is just not going to defeat Trump. I wish it were different, but I'm just sort of recognizing the political
Right.
reality that we live in. I hope whoever wins is ready for that.
Yeah. Thanks.
All
Yeah.
right,
It's
appreciate
kind
the
of sad
phone call.
reality,
Thank
but
you very
thank you.
much. Yeah, great to hear from you. One of today's sponsors is Impeach the Card Slap Game. You cannot slap Donald Trump in real life, but you can slap him in this hilarious, fast-paced two-player card game, and you can get it for 10% off when you go to davidpakman.com/impeach and use the coupon code PakmanShow at checkout, all one word. Awesome for parties when you're having a few drinks. I've been playing it with some friends of mine. Currently has a 5 out of 5 star rating on Amazon, and it combines clever satire about the Trump administration with really funny, high quality cartoon artwork, all in a really lively card game that's easy to learn, but it stays interesting every time you play it because of how well designed it is and really how much thought went into the humor and the political commentary. The game covers a ton of themes: global warming, Russian collusion, tax cuts for the wealthy. Impeach the Card Slap game is perfect if you're looking for something fun and casual to do with your politically minded friends or family members. You might even learn something new about the Trump administration while you're playing the game. It's a perfect gift for anyone who has a sense of humor about Trump, or get it for yourself and have a really fun and witty game to play when people come over. You can even play it tournament style. Get Impeach the Card Slap game by going to davidpakman.com/impeach and get 10% off when you use the coupon code PAKMANSHOW at checkout, all one word.